What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. With the addition of Chevreuse, it brings us lots of new varieties to Raiden's team build. And surprisingly, many of them are actually strong and viable. So here comes the question. Which team is the best now for C0 free-to-play Raiden? Curious, right? You'll soon learn the answers from this video, because I'm gonna show you all Raiden teams, starting from the weakest to the strongest by the end. At the same time, I'll be giving you my analysis and experience on the team as we're going through the list. So get ready, this is gonna be a fun journey for both of us. You probably already know this by now, but C0 Chevreuse really sucks without her resistant shared passive. In this team with Kazuha, she only provides 40% attack buff along with a minor healing, which both has minimum effects on your team strength, as Bennett is already doing the same job as her. That's why she really does not deserve a slot in the team. So it's definitely not a surprise to see this team at the bottom of the list. However, despite being weakest in the damage, there's a small advantage for this team. It has the shortest rotation among all other Hyper K teams, as none of your teammates have 20 seconds cooldown skill. Although unbelievable, this actually makes C0 Chevreuse better than a non-CC Sarah in supporting Raiden. So if you don't have CC Sarah and you still wanna try out Hyper Carry, then this is literally the best team for you. If you do have CC Sarah, the next one out the rank is the current banner team. Compared to previous team, Chevreuse now works as Kazuha's alternative instead of Kujo Sarah. However, like I said in the previous video on Chevreuse guide, this team doesn't have any off-field pyro, which means Chevreuse buff won't last until the end of Raiden's burst. So your experience with this team will be like this.
Now you shall perish!
Wow, that's a pretty big number! You'll be dead in no time! Wait a minute, how is this still alive? Well, that's the main gist of it. So don't be fooled by the banner's promotion, it's actually not a strong team at all.
Shine down! I'm going in!
To improve for the previous team, you should try out Chevreuse for any animal support. Obviously, Kazuha is the best choice. Yes, that means after all this time, the original team with Kazuha still remains the best Hyper K team for Raiden. Animal with VV artifact allows him to shed resistance just like Chevreuse, but only it lasts for much longer duration, which easily covers the whole Raiden's burst. Besides, his grouping is not only strong for clearing clouds, but also especially useful to counter the side effects of Overload. Not to mention his pyro-infused burst triggers both Overload and Shield at the same time, dealing a very decent amount of damage with his high elemental mastery. Well anyway, this is as far as pure Hyper Carry goes in this ranking. From this point onwards, to make Raiden even stronger, we have to start adding more sub DPS in our team. But before going into more of that, let me ask you a question. Are you still buying Welkins or crystals through the regular in-game store? If you do, stop doing that right now and check out lootbar.gg for 20% more discount. Not only it offers a much better price, but it's also a very trustworthy platform with fast and secure transactions. All top-ups are done via the official Chevreuse route, so you won't miss out any double bonus if you haven't used it yet. What's even better is, if you're new to this platform, you'll get another 5% discount on your first purchase. So basically, instead of $100, it's only $75 for the highest amount of crystals, saving you almost $30 just like that. So be sure to check out lootbar.gg in case you are in need of any extra primal gems. Links in the description. Things start to change when you start introducing Xiangling in your team. This is a special team that makes both Hyper K and sub DPS together. With Xiangling's off-field pyro, Chevreuse passive basically changes into a permanent buff for your team. Now this is actually stronger than Kazuha, since you don't even need to switch her out and reapply the buffs, even when you are up against multiple waves. This is the true value of Chevreuse. Anyway, compared to pure hyper carry, you'll notice a big damage drop for Raiden's initial slash. But for the overall team damage, it's actually stronger than before. That means even without Bennett, Xiangling is still a very strong sub DPS under Chevreuse buff.
Wind strike.
Since adding sub DPS results in higher DPS, let's add more of them in our team. I tried to replace Sarah with C6 Special, but to our surprise, it actually deals less damage than before. However, since Special has shorter cooldown than Sarah, it's actually an improvement in terms of DPS due to shorter rotation. Besides, Fisher allows you to easily deal with enemies that's on the blink of death, saving our burst for the next stage of the boss, particularly useful in the Abyss. By the way, if you have the first Yemiko, she can replace Fisher as well. Her burst deals a very good amount of damage, but only against targets that won't move or affected by overload, so her burst won't miss the target. Anyway, although the damage is good, let's not ignore their weakness. Survival.
Erase all threats.
Chevreuse is your only survival option in your team, and she's a pretty pathetic healer. That's why I can't rank this team any higher. But don't worry, your solution is right on the next team. Now we are finally getting into the top 3, and this is quite a perfectly balanced team. Unlike previous team with survival issue, this one has none of it with Bennett. But of course, unless you are getting one shot.
Illusion shattered.
Speaking about Hydro 2-pa, Chevreuse is the only one who can easily stress both Pyro and Electro resistance on elemental enemies as long as they are susceptible to Overload's reaction. That's how you can still do massive damage against them. Well, to be fair, Sucrose can do it too by swinging Guoba, but only for Pyro, and it requires lots of skills and practice. In terms of DPS, Kazuha actually lost to Chevreuse in this exact team. Even worse when he's up against elemental enemies, as you can't throw Pyro and Electro against them, leading to massive damage drop. However, these kind of enemies are rare in the Abyss. Most of the time it's filled with clouds, which is extremely painful for straight overload only team to deal with. That's where Kazuha's scooping comes really handy, and that's why I think this team deserves the number 2. Properly good up enemies makes your life so much easier, especially for overload teams that tends to spread enemies out. So unless future Abyss is full of elemental enemies, this team will always be your second choice. Needless to say, Rational still remains the best free-to-play team for Raiden. Its DPS is far stronger than all previous teams unless you are out against special enemies with abnormally high resistance. Its survival is also top-notch thanks to the combination of Xingqiu's damage reduction and Bennett's healing. Well anyway, since this team is very popular, I trust you don't need any further explanation on how good it is. Please don't hunt me down for this. I do think Hyperboom is one of the strongest teams for free-to-play Raiden. Just let me explain. For one, you don't really need heavy investment on your build. Take Rational for example. It takes tons of time and resources just to min-max everyone to make it strong. Artifacts, weapons, talents, etc. all requires tons of resins. But for Hyperboom, just put on triple EM on Raiden, energy recharge on Xingqiu, 4-piece deep memories on Nahida, and you'll get a very powerful team already. Besides, you don't need any constellation for this team either. A huge advantage for new players since it's becoming much harder to pull a particular 4-star character out of random as more new 4-stars gets added into the banner. Honestly, if only Cookie doesn't exist, this could be a meta team for free to play, literally. But of course, its base damage potential is definitely lower than Rational, but it will take a huge effort of grinding artifacts for Rational to beat Hyperbloom. That's why I put this team on the extra. And last, another extra team that's worth mentioning is the double Hydro. I put this team in the extra for 2 reasons. First one, it requires at least 4 5-star characters, which is not exactly free to play friendly. Secondly, even though it's much more expensive, it's not necessarily stronger than National. Well, at least that's my experience when everyone is C0 without their signature.
Illusion shattered.
Alright, that's all for this showcase, and here are the stats of my characters. While I'm showing you my builds on the background, let's talk a bit about how I really feel about this. Honestly, although I made this list, it's actually hard to decide which one is the best, especially for the top 5. All of them has their pros and cons, and when the situation favors, even low ranking team can easily be the best team. Just take Hydro 2-part for example. Triple Pyro with Chevreuse easily beats National in that chamber. The same goes for the Thunderbird, as you can't vaporize on it. Against heavily clouded situations, teams with Kazuha will always win even if you go for hyper carry. So what I'm going to say is, it all depends on the enemies you face. All these teams I show you are viable, so just choose the best one for you depending on the situations. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you soon.